guys, and welcome back to a new What I Eat in a Week. It's been a minute since I filmed one of those. This week it's just me in Berlin, not doing anything exciting for the most part. Wait, I shouldn't preface this video by saying that. Even though I didn't leave the house a whole lot, the meal ideas in this are really fun and will hopefully give you some new food inspiration. A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Create your next website with Squarespace and use the code MINAROME at checkout for 10% off your first purchase. Monday began with the first of many muesli bowls I had that week. It consisted of small cut oats, a teaspoon of hemp flour, a big handful of this chocolate and coconut granola. It's from Goodies, a small vegetarian coffee chain in Berlin. I like this stuff a lot, and you'll see me recreate this a bit later in the video, or if you want the recipe now, you can click the timestamp that's in the description. I added more oats, frozen raspberries, and oat soy milk. Also, I had one of those squash peaches. They're my favorite. Lunch was a chickpea omelette. If you've watched my Stranger Things recipe video, this will look familiar. That video will be linked down below and up here. I had this with fried tomato rice, chopped lettuce, and pickles. As a little dessert snack thing, I had another peach and some dark chocolate. Lastly, dinner was not pretty. To a small saucepan, I added cooked rice noodles I had left over in the fridge, 2 crumpled up tofu patties, recipe for those in the description as well, a few tablespoons of kimchi me and my friend made at a kimchi workshop a few weeks prior, and leftover chickpeas, plus more chopped lettuce. Lacking in aesthetic, but this was still super good. For Tuesday morning, we have another bowl of muesli. This looked too strange for me not to buy it. You read that correctly, this is broccoli flavored muesli. To my bowl, I added some chopped green apple, oat milk, and peanut butter. I was working on an ice cream recipe that day, and so snacked on some of the custardy ice cream base. Then my friend Anne-Louise and I went grocery shopping together. Lidl was honestly not killing it that day, so I only picked up a few things there, including this marzipan chocolate, which apparently I've slept on since 2015. We were starving when we got back, and so had the easiest dinner we could think of. Pasta and store-bought tomato sauce, with beans, lettuce, tomatoes, and nutritional yeast, and basil. I had 2 big plates of that for a late lunch turned dinner. Later in the evening, I tried the chocolate I bought. It's so good. Seriously, how come I'd never seen this before? And I had the rest of the noodles that were still in the pot. Wednesday's breakfast was an apple and a peach, topped with oats, soy yogurt, date syrup, and more oats. So another muesli bowl, basically. For lunch, I defrosted / steamed up some frozen veggies. I also toasted up 2 pieces of whole wheat bread using my pan because I don't have a toaster yet. I added some kimchi to the vegetables, then spread this tomato sunflower seed spread onto my toast. topped it off with tomato slices and basil leaves. And the veggie kimchi mix. My love for kimchi has grown immensely ever since I did that workshop. Love that stuff. For dinner, I had a very cozy bowl of oatmeal. That was oats, a pinch of salt, vanilla, hemp powder, chopped dates, and non-dairy milk. I topped it off with more frozen raspberries, tahini, peanut butter, and agave syrup. I had breakfast super late on Thursday, so I decided to step out of my muesli zone and make something savory for once. First, I cooked up some rice, chopped up tomatoes, ginger, and spring onion. In a teaspoon of coconut oil, I first fried the onion and ginger, then added tomatoes and leftover kidney beans, leftover marinara sauce, and basil. I finished it off with nutritional yeast, and that was it. Then it was time for me to get back to the ice cream recipe, which meant I had to eat this cone of ice cream. Recipe, once again, down below. Then after filming, all of a sudden I had one of those famous PMS attacks I get every 2 years for some reason. This is most likely TMI, but anytime I'm on my period, I'll either feel nothing or it feels like I'm giving birth. There is no in between. But I was just gonna ask you guys if any of you are in a similar situation where you get these insane, unbelievable cramp sessions, but only every few years. So to distract myself from that whole thing, I decided to bake something. That something being the chocolate granola from Goodies you saw earlier, and I want to say I nailed this to 90%. Mine's maybe not as quote-unquote clean as theirs, but it tastes at least just as good. Alright, so first mix together all the dry ingredients. Coconut flakes, or coconut chips as they're named here in German stores, ground up flax seeds, a generous pinch of salt, sunflower seeds, unsweetened cacao powder, and chia seeds. Add all the wet ingredients to a small saucepan. Liquid sweetener of choice. The Goodies one is using rice syrup. I used agave instead. White tahini. You can substitute this for almond butter, or I even made this once with vegan Nutella, so any nut buttery spread goes. Vanilla and coconut oil. Let it all melt together on medium heat. Pour the wet ingredients into the dry and combine both components. Definitely use a bigger bowl here. If necessary, add a splash of non-dairy milk. Preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius. Line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Press down the mixture evenly. Should be about 1 centimeter of thickness, give or take. Then put this into the oven and let it bake for 20 to 22 minutes. This is my first attempt at making this muesli. I used the false oven setting and therefore burned most of it. So the week after, I made this again without the burning. The first time I had the temperature way too high and used like some sort of grilling setting. Let it cool on the counter for a few hours after baking, or just leave it there overnight, and then the next morning break it apart, and very important, transfer it to a glass jar. If some parts aren't fully hardened yet, they will eventually do so when you store it. Back to Thursday. I then had a bowl of soy yogurt, mixed in some unsweetened apple banana sauce. Added a lot of apple chunks and some of the original granola. Oh, and also I finished the jar of applesauce after. I didn't get hungry until pretty late that day, and I just ate leftover rice straight from the pot, mixed in some of the tomato sunflower seed spread, and that was about it. I didn't even think about filming it. I don't know why, that completely skipped my mind. Friday's muesli bowl was oats, the non-burnt parts of my homemade chocolate granola with oat milk. This one being my new favorite oat milk, I think. For lunch, I met up with my friend Desiree. We went to Givec, or Giveg, I guess, and had bagels and bionada there. My bagel was with sweet potato and tomatoes, cucumber, and this yogurt sauce. I was pretty impressed with this. I didn't think this was gonna be this good. And hers had barbecue tempeh on it, I believe. We both got a piece of cake afterwards. Mine's apple pie and hers was lemon cake. Both very good choices. The cake's really good. I'd never been to this cafe before that, but I have to go back solely to try their Snickers cream cake my friend was talking about. Then I made my way to the public library to work and focus and not be distracted by the YouTube recommended feed. I brought an apple with me and some more of the granola, but I didn't eat all of it since some parts were a little too burnt for my taste. For this poorly lit dinner, I quickly reheated leftover rice, frozen veggies, nutritional yeast, lemon juice, basil, and more spices. Saturday, I finally had an interesting breakfast. I had my friend Yuli over and we did brunch together, so we had a big spread of all sorts of things. Apples, whole wheat buns, and homemade chocolate buns I had in the freezer, recipe for those in my picnic video. Kiwis and raisin bread, the chocolate granola you're probably tired of hearing about by now, the broccoli almond muesli for Yuli to try and to show her that this doesn't taste like broccoli. She brought cherries, homemade almond coconut butter, which I think was my favorite thing I had that week. I need to make this myself at some point. And she also brought homemade vegan honey. I didn't keep track of what and how much I was eating here, so yeah, there you go. As an afternoon snack, I had some dates with peanut butter and then made my way to my parents' house to sort of surprise them. At home, I was really scraping for food. This is the beautiful dinner I cooked up for me and my brother. So, red lentils, couscous, iceberg lettuce that had definitely seen better days before, marinara sauce, and lemon juice for the top. Breakfast part 1 was a whole wheat bun with this vegan Nutella. It was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Can recommend it for sure. Then part 2 was a little smoothie bowl made out of frozen berries, hemp seeds, apple juice, and water. No oat milk in sight, I know. I added unsweetened cornflakes to the top, sunflower seeds, and a little agave syrup. I had lunch at the fair the town I grew up in is hosting every year, and they had a vegetarian food truck, which is insane. There's not a lot of people living in this town, and for them to have a veggie food truck is a big deal. I had this vegan chili with flatbread, and then my mom had the sweet potato fries with barbecue sauce. We kind of like shared everything together, and that was really fun. Dinner had to be oatmeal again, since once again my parents really didn't have any food, so I made just the most basic oatmeal out of oats, salt, water. For my toppings, I used 1 unripe pear, more frozen berries, and I found these chocolate-covered cookie dough balls in the freezer. If you ever make these for yourself in advance and one day you come home craving chocolate or something sweet, you'll thank your past self for that. For sure. I was so happy. And that's it for all the food. Oh yeah, besides all of that, I take B12, iron sometimes, vitamin D sometimes. A huge shout out to Squarespace for being today's sponsor. You know them. They're an all-in-one platform, perfect for creating websites. This can be your first time. You don't need any knowledge in website building since their big selection of professionally designed templates makes this whole process super simple. You basically just drag and drop things where you want them to go, and you can really make these templates into your own. And if you need any help, you have a 24/7 customer service at your disposal. I've made my website with them as well. It has my ebook on it and almost all my recipes organized by category. Yeah, link to that will also be down below if you want to check out that website. Go to squarespace.com/Sweena. Go to squarespace.com/MinaRome for 10% off your new snazzy website. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. See you soon. Bye!